from being an associate professor, personality validator, interviewer, motivator, and now being an influencer. Could you please share the series of events that led you follow this path? So, interviewer is just an extension to interviewer, personality evaluator is just an extension to what I am, which is a teacher. And then other things. The most bizarre thing that has happened to me is uh, me becoming so-called influencer. There are some personality traits while we give interview for government or corporate also. What are that personality traits and how do we cultivate those? One I will request all of you to consider is that adaptability is one thing that over centuries, millennia actually, has remained one of the most important trait possible.
We have prepared a quick rapid fire round.
So we can now move from formal to casual. Is that the case?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
True leadership isn't about titles, it's about taking steps and inspiring others to do the same. Hi, my name is Arya.
And my name is Khushbu Kapoor.
And we welcome you to another episode of Leadership Talk Season 2.
We are here to bring a package of insightful conversations, but with this conversation, we are igniting the real leader in you and will challenge you the way you think about leadership.
We are diving into deep conversation to understand what it takes to lead, what it takes to turn challenges into opportunities, and what it takes to make tough decisions.
If you're someone who learns and wants to grow and make a difference in the world, you are at the right place. Today, we welcome a personality who has changed countless individuals' lives. And that personality is none other than Dr. Vijender Chauhan.
His vision, perseverance, and ability to bring out the best in people is what makes him a true leader. His journey is a proof that leadership isn't about where you start from, rather, it's about how you rise, how you adapt, and how you lead by setting an example for others.
He is here to share thoughtful mindsets, inspiring thoughts, and inspiring experiences of him. And it will question the way you think about leadership and will define the new traits of leadership and the qualities.
Stay with us because this is a conversation you don't want to miss out.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us someone whom we have seen in TED Talks, UPSC interviews, and on social media. He needs absolutely no introduction. Please welcome Dr. Vijender Chauhan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Khushbu. Thank you, Aryan.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking out time from your valuable schedule.
मुझे तो आकर खुशी हुई है.
So, shall we?
Please.
So begin with the first question. Your journey is truly fascinating. From being an associate professor, personality validator, interviewer, motivator, and now being an influencer. Could you please share the series of events that led you follow this path?
Well, Khushbu, to be honest, there was no design in it. And I'm a great votary of letting nature do a few things. Let, as we say, flow decide things. So it's true that there are multiple hats, as you mentioned. कभी माना जाता है कि influencer हैं, कभी motivational speaker हैं, interviewer हैं. But my primary identity remains that I am a teacher. And I've been saying it at every platform possible, that I'm deep inside, I'm a teacher. I will continue to be a teacher. I will die as a teacher. So that's the primary identity I carry, and I'm very proud of this identity. Apart from other things that came in course of life, and it's true that when my friend Dr. Vikas Divikirti, he started this thing as a startup long ago. It is called Drishti IAS. He was looking for people who can have these interview sessions conducted, and I came to his mind for obvious reason that we were good friends and we were in debating together. So he knew that I can speak a bit, and I had a background of engineering and social sciences and literature, so that diversity was there. So I was like a available choice. So it started with that. And as I said, that I'm not really very resistant to change. अगर ज़िंदगी में कुछ ऐसा होता है जो मेरे सामने कुछ बदलाव ला रहा होता है, तो मेरी पहली प्रतिक्रिया उसका प्रतिरोध करने की नहीं होती. So that's why I accepted that assignment, and then now it's more than 2 decades I'm doing it, and I'm enjoying every bit of it, because I don't believe that these are two different things. In education, as a teacher, as a researcher, we study books, and here as an interviewer, I study human being as human books. They have a certain trajectory of their career which is available to me, and I very passionately read it as if I'm reading a novel. So interviewer is just an extension to interviewer personality evaluator is just an extension to what I am, which is a teacher. And then other things. Then the most bizarre thing that has happened to me is me becoming so-called influencer. I understand that figures suggest that I have got more than 1 million subscribers on Instagram. I don't understand why. If any of you can tell me, I'll be very, very happy to accept that, because I'm a boring Hindi teacher, right? Right? So why would Instagram generation, that is you people, should be following me on Instagram? Because I very rarely say things which pleases others. I'm usually a very bitter talker when it comes to giving feedback to the candidates, or on Instagram also I'm generally saying don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and still people are watching. There may be some some kind of a reason which someday I'll understand. But that part is still a mystery, that why I'm influencer. But other things came as a flow. But I'm enjoying all these roles. That is the most important part.
Absolutely, sir. I think we all can relate with this. That go with the flow is the biggest luxury nowadays. Coming to the second question.
So, not just me, even the audience wants to know, from electrical engineering to Hindi literature, what sparked this remarkable shift?
Yes. देखिए, आज ये समझना बहुत मतलब it's not surprising nowadays, because as a candidate, when we interview candidates, I have come across candidates who have done BTech, maybe some good institution, NITs, IITs even, and they end up doing masters in sometimes public administration, history, or things like that. It is not possible to find a few people like this. But back then, when I did my engineering in 1990, it wasn't something that was heard of. So when I was an engineering student, generally my interest and inclination was towards poetry and things like that. तो होता ये था कि मुझे अपने इंजीनियरिंग के अपने फ्रेंड्स ये बोला करते थे कि यू डोंट बिलोंग हियर, तुम तो कहीं और के लिए हो. And interestingly, when I shifted, I was duly thrown out of my home for doing that, but that's a different story. When I actually shifted from engineering to Hindi literature, took admission in BA Honors Hindi in the college where I am a teacher now, there I realized that my friends there also used to say the same. You don't belong here. उनका कहना था कि तुम हिंदी के हो लेकिन तुम इंजीनियरिंग की बात करते हो. तो वी वर वर्किंग ऑन दैट इंटरनेट बिकमिंग द प्लेटफॉर्म फॉर हिंदी. हिंदी की के हम लोगों ने बाद में ब्लॉग शुरू किए. उस समय हम फॉन्ट्स के स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन पे काम करना चाह रहे थे. सो आई वाज वर्किंग ऑन द टेक्नोलॉजी, क्रिएटिविटी, हार्मनी फ्रंट, एंड इट वाज समथिंग विच वाज इनकॉम्प्रिहेंसिबल फॉर हिंदी स्टूडेंट्स एंड टीचर्स. तो उन लोगों को लगता था कि ये व्यक्ति हिंदी में आ गया लेकिन है इंजीनियर ही. तो आप समझ पा रहे हैं, जैसे आप धोबी का कुत्ता कहते हैं, मेरी हालत वह थी. इंजीनियरिंग वाले मुझे इंजीनियरिंग का नहीं मानते थे और हिंदी वाले मुझे हिंदी का नहीं मानते थे. बट व्हेन आई लुक बैक, I believe this was the most beautiful decision I've taken in my life. And it is, अब जब हम इसको पुराना देखकर रैशनलाइज करने की कोशिश करते हैं, आई रियलाइज दैट हैड आई नॉट बीन एन इंजीनियरिंग स्टूडेंट, had I not made that shift, I would not have been a good interviewer. You must have realized that I am the person who can ask a mechanical engineering student, क्या पूछता हूँ मैं? You remember that? Me? Asking them mechanical engineering वाले से कि बताइए what is the difference between a MPFI engine and a carburetor engine? I'm sure you remember that. So I'm able to ask it because I have some exposure in engineering, and at the same time I'm a literature person. I also did the social sciences in between. So that diversity, that being dhobi ka kutta, is something is serving me well. That's why I said that I'm a votary of flow. Whatever is coming with some design, I mean, evaluate it for every reason. You cannot let yourself lost in this. But if you believe that it is in you, it is resonating with what is in you, then do it. So I was able to do that shift, and I enjoy it. But I still enjoy electrical engineering, to be honest. And there's a lot where when I look at engineers, I say, ये लोग क्यों नहीं इस पर काम कर रहे हैं? There are several things possible. So that's been how it is, and as I said, I enjoyed that shift.
That's great, even ये बहुत ही इंफॉर्मेटिव चीज़ थी कि अगर आप अपने चीज़ों में जिसमें आपको इंटरेस्ट है, अगर आप उस चीज़ के लिए जाते हो तो आप उसमें आपको बहुत ही ज़्यादा सुकून मिलता है और बहुत ही सक्सेस मिलने की चांसेस रहती है उसमें.
It is like that only. I mean, this is my experience. I'm never. I will be the last person to say कि मेरे जीवन के जो अनुभव हैं वही आपके भी होंगे. It doesn't work like that. Never, right? But then you have to take a call. But generally my advice is, and I'm repeating it, कि change को बहुत resist मत कीजिए. ये हम लोगों को जब इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन हुई और हमारे यहाँ पश्चिम से बहुत सारे लोग आए, उन लोगों ने ये समझाना शुरू किया, बताना शुरू किया. अदरवाइज हमारी अपनी संस्कृति कल्चर और द अदर ओल्ड कल्चर्स लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल चाइनीज एंड जापानीज कल्चर, दे डोंट रेजिस्ट चेंज, दे लेट चेंज टेक प्लेस. दो you keep your identity, but at the same time respect the forces that want to bring change in the society in whatever way. That's what my understanding so far is, and it's working so far.
Truly impacting, sir. Sir, on seeing your profile, it was so dynamic and diverse. I'm sure there would be some challenges in your life while your career. What were the challenges, some, and how did you improve it, and how did you take action to make it work?
Well, Khushbu, if you look at the challenges part, obviously life is going to be very, very boring if there are no challenges in it. That's the very starting point of the conversation. Yes, there were challenges, and it was difficult on my part to do it, to overcome these. At that time, it used to be the end of the world kind of a thing. For example, I'm just mentioning a few. One is that I studied in a government school. I studied in a municipal school in the primary classes, and I took admission in another government school from the middle classes onwards. So you can understand the kind of resources that were available at that time with me, and compulsions that forced me to that kind of a relatively less resources kind of education. So first challenge that came to come to my mind is I started learning English in class 6th. So till class 6th, I didn't have even the alphabet thing with us, and that was normal at that time. It's not something that I have to be very apologetic about it. But then still, you can understand the challenge of a language was there. So when I got into, for example, the public speaking when I was a student in college, that was something that used to scare me away. I mean, getting into St. Stephen's College and then talking to, for example, at that age, somebody, a Stephanian girl is there, you will shake like anything, right? And that was a time, that was a challenge, and that is one thing which I had to work very hard. I'm still struggling, to be honest, because, for example, we could not participate in English debating because we were scared of it. We could not participate in the English activities, though we were leaders. Me and Dr. Vikas used to later become Dr. Vikas. Me and Vikas used to be leaders when it comes to Hindi debating, Hindi declamation, Hindi other things. But we used to run away the moment some English event used to be there. So that was one challenge I had to overcome. Similarly, the other challenges come in terms of the other deprivations in terms of financials we used to have. I had to work in a iron factory because I had that engineering degree. In between my school, my college, during my college vacation, I used to work in a iron making factory as a quality control engineer who used to measure the temperature and the thermal cutout times and things like that. So these were the challenges in the beginning. Last challenge I want to mention is about the personal relationships, relationship front. I met the girl who is my wife today, Nelima, when I was just out of my college days. And we, for some reason, strange reason, we are still trying to figure out what was the reason, but we decided that we'll marry, right? आजकल के बच्चों के साथ ये बिल्कुल नहीं होता. मतलब अगर वो दे आर इनटू रिलेशनशिप, इट्स उसकी पहली सीढ़ी शादी नहीं होती है, राइट? कई बार तो आखिरी भी नहीं होती है. लेकिन in our times that used to be a rebellion of its kind. कि आपने मान लीजिए आप कॉलेज से जस्ट बाहर निकले हैं, 4-6 महीने का आप लोगों का एक दूसरे को जानने का है, and for some reason we decided that we'll marry. And then obviously the बाकी सब challenges छोड़ दीजिए, कास्ट का, कम्युनिटी का, वो सब तो हैंडल हो गया. But once we married, we realized that we have married too soon, right? For example, we didn't have resources to run this 2-member family, and both of us were still students. So you can understand that we used to work and we used to go to college at the same time, and that was a challenge. But then it gave me a very interesting and wonderful insight. I will not advise others to do it because it's too challenging, too risky thing to do. But I realized that it made me cool with almost all difficulties. इसके बाद संघर्ष जो हैं वो चुटकुले जैसे लगने लगे, क्योंकि उसके बाद के सारे संघर्षों में, for example, later I left a government job and become unemployed, but it was easy then because I had faced the earlier challenges of the relationship and the other things. So these were few challenges I remember that has come my way. But trust me, challenges and failures are most wonderful teachers. And if you ignore challenges, you avoid challenges, and you are scared of failures, then unfortunately the result is a failure.
Truly, sir, I hope that the audience is taking notes of all this, that failure is the stepping stone to success.
So, you mentioned your college time, and we learned a lot in college. So, could you share a meaningful life lesson that you have gained outside the academic sphere in your college year?
Oh, there are many. जहाँ तक मेरे कॉलेज की बात है, I'll consider period from 1990 to around 1996. These 6 years are my college years. आप में से जिन लोगों को नहीं पता, मैं दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के जाकिर हुसैन कॉलेज का स्टूडेंट था. वहीं मैं आज टीचर भी हूँ. I teach in the same institution, and this is wonderful to pay back to the society when you are in the same institution which gave you everything, and you are able to return a little bit of it. But then 1990 is a period. See, जब आप कॉलेज में होते हैं तो आपको कॉलेज की केवल दीवारें और टीचर्स नहीं सिखा रहे होते. It is the entire ecosystem that teach you a lot. So yes, there were wonderful teachers. There were not so wonderful teachers as well. There were wonderful friends. There were not so wonderful students also. But if you look at period from 1990 to 96, it is one of the most happening period in the city of Delhi, and it was most challenging to be a teacher. This is the period where uh, the Mandal Commission happened. This is the period where 1992 Ayodhya Babri demolition happened. It is a period where so many events of a lot of communalism and allied things happened. And I was there in Zakir Hussain College, which is one of the most wonderful institutions this city has because of its diversity. It was an institution. It is an institution where sizable number of students come from a community which was being vilified all around. And I was there deep in that period and realizing that these are wonderful people. जब हम लोगों को घर में बताया जाता है ये लोग बुरे हैं, दूर रहिए वगैरह वगैरह बताया जाता था, उस समय का माहौल इतना बुरा हुआ था. And I realized that these are wonderful people. And that was the time where I learned this wonderful respect for diversity. Because as a child, I learned what happened in 1984. I was a student in a government college, a school as I mentioned, and I was a Punjabi student, so Punjabi as a language. So I had many friends coming from Sikh community. And 1984 happened and I saw the violence and the hatred. So these are the things which taught me in my college and school days that diversity is something that you should keep to very, very close to your heart. अगर आप अपने जैसे ही लोगों के बीच में रहने को अपनी जिद बनाए हुए हैं, तो यकीन मानिए आप दंगाई बनने के रास्ते में हैं. अगर आप अपने से भिन्न लोगों, people different from your gender, different from your caste, different from your community, different from your nationality if possible, अगर आप उन लोगों के बीच में रहेंगे तब आप पाएंगे कि आपने अपने लिए लर्निंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज के बहुत बड़े बड़े दरवाजे खोले. Dr. Vikas Divyakirti is the person I met in the college, and we are still good friends. We have learned a lot from each other. He comes from a family which had to run from Pakistan because of partition. This college is a college which was burned down in 1857 in the 1857 revolution. The entire college was burned. Delhi College was burned. And 1947, when partition took place, many students and college teachers were either killed in the partition riots or they had to migrate to Pakistan. And the college was like a ghost building at that time. This is despite the fact that college was already affiliated to Delhi University at that time. And college opened its door at that time to let the migrants from Pakistan without their degrees, without their certificate, because they had to run. The college opened its gate and gave admission to all of them without insisting for certificates or proof that they were studying in Pakistan. Okay, you start studying, we'll arrange from your college. And then letters were written, and you can understand if I am from that institution, it's even walls teach you. उसके दीवारों तक में ये इतिहास है और वो आपको ये सिखा रहा था. So college life is something which is a greatest university in itself, right? So I think what I am is almost wholly because of my college experiences. उसके बाद तो मैं जो कुछ भी कर रहा हूं जिसे आप सक्सेस कहते हैं, जिसकी वजह से आई टीम को जरूरत पड़ती है कि विजेंद्र चौहान को बुलाओ, वो सब तो उसको वापस करने की कोशिश भर है. जो मैंने कॉलेज से हासिल किया उसका कुछ हिस्सा मैं चाहता हूं कि सोसाइटी को, कम्युनिटी को, मेरे इंस्टीट्यूशन को, यूथ को वापस कर सकूं. इट इज दैट एफर्ट विच यू कॉल सक्सेस. टू मी माई फॉर्मेशन इज इन दोज ईयर्स ओनली.
That is something IIT में भी हमें बहुत कुछ सिखाया एंड विल ट्राई कि हम फ्यूचर में भी IITM को जितना हो सके उतना देंगे.
See, I'm thankful, Aryan, for saying it. I know this is a wonderful institution. I had been having conversation with the faculty. Mandeep sir से बात हो रही थी, सीमा मैम से बात हुई है, डायरेक्टर मैम से भी बात हुई है. I realized that the institution, almost all institutions do, this institution specifically do, that they strive to do the best for their students. And as a student, when you get into the industry, when you get into the society, your way of paying back is not paying back, it has to be paying forward, right? Which effectively means that if you do well what you're doing, you end up paying back to the society. So my request to all of you is that once you are a manager, once you are a computer professional or whatever your profession is, do your work well and make sure that you're not contributing to hatred. Make sure that you're contributing to diversity and inclusion. You'll realize that life is more beautiful.
Truly, sir, it's very inspiring to all of us who are sitting over here. There are some personality traits while we give interview for government or corporate also. What are that personality traits and how do we cultivate those?
Well, खुशबू देखिए, ये बात तो मानकर चलनी पड़ेगी कि हर तरह के जॉब इंटरव्यूज एक जैसे नहीं होते. सो देर आर job specific traits which probably we cannot discuss here because every job will have different trait. If you ask me, I'll be able to tell you about academics, I'll be able to tell you about civil services. But then if you are, for example, applying for a computer developer job or software developer job, they will have some specific traits as well. So let us not talk about the specific trait, but there are some general traits which are applicable to almost every job and which is important. One I will request all of you to consider is that adaptability is one thing that over centuries, millennia actually, has remained one of the most important trait possible. Right from evolution of human being, and here I am giving you a very important insight, I hope you consider that. Those of you who know how human being evolved, ऐसा तो कोई नहीं है जिसे लगता है नहीं 5 दिन में भगवान ने बना दिया था, ऐसे भी होते हैं. I am not one of those creationists, right? I believe that human evolution took place, right? So you know that there were two close relatives in genus called Homo. One was Homo erectus and other was Neanderthal, right? Homo erectus evolved into Homo sapiens and are what we are now. Neanderthals disappeared. Mostly disappeared. There is a theory that it says that part of it actually mate with Homo sapiens, but mostly disappeared. Question is why? And the reason is adaptability. Any species that survival of the fittest, when it said it is not about being the strongest. Had it been in strongest, then then dinosaurs must have been here even now, but they are not. They disappeared. So it's about adaptability. Whether you are willing to adapt to changes is the most important trait you should nurture. तो जैसे ही बदलाव आपके सामने आता है, सिलेबस बदला, कोर्स बदला, आपका डिसिप्लिन बदला, इवन आपका फोन का मॉडल बदला, तब आपकी पहली रिएक्शन क्या, आपकी पहली प्रतिक्रिया क्या होती है? Do you feel threatened? Do you feel that you are not happy with the change? If that is the case, my suggestion will be that work on adaptability. But what is interesting about this theory of Neanderthal and Homo erectus is that the research has shown that the cranial space of Neanderthal was larger than Homo erectus. And this is the interesting aspect. Cranial space का मतलब है कि उनकी खोपड़ी का आकार होमो इरेक्टस से ज्यादा था. इन अदर वर्ड्स उनका दिमाग ज्यादा बड़ा था. होमो इरेक्टस का दिमाग सबसे ज्यादा नेanderthals की तुलना में ज्यादा बड़ा नहीं था. सो इट्स नॉट अबाउट इंटेलिजेंस दैट रिजल्टेड इन होमो इरेक्टस सर्वाइव, बिकॉज इफ intelligence was the question, then Neanderthal were more intelligent in comparison to Homo erectus. But as a matter of fact, since they were more intelligent, They got into the challenges which were not, it was where it was not possible to be adapted to the environment. And at the end of the day, they vanished. In other words, जो सबसे तेज चलता है हमेशा वही सफल नहीं होता है. I'm not at all saying that become dumb to be adaptive. No, that's not my message. But my message is that having an endurance for a longer period, आपको सबसे बड़ा और सबसे ज़्यादा वाला पैकेज ही मिले, यही क्राइटेरिया नहीं होना चाहिए डिसीजन मेकिंग में. यह भी होना चाहिए कि वहाँ जो आपको अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ मिलने वाली हैं जॉब में, वो आपको ज़्यादा एडेप्टिव, ज़्यादा कैपेबल इंडिविजुअल बनाएंगी, या सबके सब लोग एक ही तरह की कंसल्टेंसी में जाकर फिर एक और रैट रेस में जाने वाले हैं. सो मेक श्योर दैट यू आर अडेप्ट, you have this trait of adaptability is one thing, and obviously you need to have curiosity, you need to have endurance, as I said, and you need to enjoy whatever you're doing. If you are getting bored too early, that's a sign that you'll not be able to adapt in the future.
Such a responsible answer, sir. Now moving ahead with the rapid fire round, my co-host Aaron will share the details.
So before we move on to our next question, can we share, change our gears to something interesting?
Sorry?
Can we change our gears to something interesting?
Yes, please do. Why not?
Because we have prepared a quick rapid fire round, and since it is a rapid fire round,
So we can now move from formal to casual. Is that the case?
yes.
Right. Okay.
Sure, sir.
So since it is a rapid fire round, I request you to keep it one time.
Okay.
Shall we?
Am I audible?
So what is an ideal day for Dr. Vijender Chauhan?
Sorry?
What is an ideal day for Dr. Vijender Chauhan?
Well, that a day that ends with some joy, like a day where I was able to meet friend, was able to hug a good student.
Sorry.
If you could be anyone, but not you, who would you want to be like?
Well, that's a tough one, but I would like to be a girl.
Interesting, sir.
Your favorite place where you love to spend your vacations?
Well, there's several, usually hills, but any riverside will do.
One memory from your college you cherish the most?
Oh, there's several, but one I remember is when we got stuck in a place called Bits Pilani. Me and Vikas, we were teammates, and we did not have room, we did not have money to buy food, and we slept on the floor in that campus. We were expecting that host will take care of us, they didn't, but that was a wonderful evening, I remember.
If a movie is made on you, what would you want the title to be like and who you want to be featured in?
Okay. Why would anybody make a movie on me? But if it does, it will be Proud to be Nothing, I think should be the title. And Nawazuddin Siddiqui will look good in my role, isn't it?
So the funniest answer you have got in an interview that made you laugh so hard?
There have been several actually. Because of the disclosure things, we cannot share most. But one interesting was when a Pratapgarh ka ladka, I don't know whether Delhi people will understand Pratapgarh, but Pratapgarh is like Mirzapur kind of a place where it's all about Bahubali and all, right? So yes, thank you for mentioning it. So Pratapgarh ka bacha tha, and we asked him, why do you want to become a civil servant? His IPS was his first choice. He said, he named the same person, Raja Bhaiya ko theek karna hai.
If you could go back in time and change anything or advise your younger self, what would it be?
Well, I would be giving the same advice which I gave to all of you, that be adaptive and keep loving.
Hardest challenge that you had to overcome in life?
I just mentioned English language was one, and overcoming discriminations is other.
Thank you so much, sir, for your cooperation. Now moving ahead to our question and answer round.
Thank you very much.
Can we have a huge round of applause?
aspect to it. What advice do you want to give to that youth which faces failure in their career?
Well, I just mentioned, I mean, considering failure is a problem that arises when you consider your goals to be concrete places to reach. I've been saying it always. See, suppose मान लीजिए आपका जो टारगेट है वो आपने ये कहा कि you want to become, say, you want to get a package in placement of 15 lakhs, and that is according to you is a success. Now you have a very concrete goal in your mind. So whatever you do, suppose even if you get a package of 12 lakh, you'll say it is a failure. Why? Because you have a concrete goal and you're comparing your accomplishment with that concrete goal, and that results in a feeling of failure. And I tell you, there is no end to it. No end to it. If the goal is not a concrete destination, if it is a process, you'll realize you will never face failure. Let me tell you I've been interviewing candidates for 22 years now. Every year, only yesterday, we interviewed candidates out of which 3 were sitting IPS officers. Sitting IPS officer, 3 IPS officers in a single day. Not to mention revenue service officers. In my life, I've interviewed a candidate who was IAS officer. IAS officer. He resigned from IAS service, reappeared in the examination, hoping to become IAS officer. Can you imagine that? Why is it happening? Just imagine. Which effectively means the one who is becoming IRS officer or IPS officer consider his becoming IPS officer as failure. Why? Because he believes there is a higher service he wants to aspire, which is IAS service. Those who are not selected will say any selection is success. Everything else is failure. IPS officer will believe IPS officer is failure. Revenue service officer will believe revenue service is of failure. In that case of IAS officer, he resigned because he got Northeast cadre. He got into IAS service but got Northeast cadre, was posted somewhere in Tripura. He said that's not good enough. To him, IAS in home cadre will be the success. So effectively, even those people whose wonderful pictures you see as success are failures if they insist on considering themselves as failure. But if you honestly believe that the process you are undergoing is success, then you will never have this sense of failure. Even if you are able to clear prelims and you are not able to clear mains, you will believe that you have learned something in the process of doing prelims, right? And that is it. If you are you wanted to become an engineer, you appeared for JEE examination, could clear JEE mains but could not clear JEE advanced, you'll end up in being NIT or in some other engineering college, some management institution, and you'll start blaming yourself, मैं वहाँ नहीं हूँ, यहाँ हूँ, I'm a failure. No. You need to see what are takeaways from the process rather than some concrete destination, because if you're going to consider concrete destination as success and everything else as failure, then you're doomed, because every day you will be having this feeling of being failure. But whatever you consider failure, if they are coming to your life, you will always have takeaways from them, and it will be a stepping stone to something great. And please understand, it is not you who is always responsible for your so-called failures. Never. मैंने हजारों बच्चों के इंटरव्यू लिए हैं और टेबल के उस तरफ से आप देख सकते हैं, आपको पता होता है कि रिजल्ट आने के बाद इन 4 बच्चों को लेकर हल्ला मचाया जाएगा पूरे देश में कि देखो इसका बच्चा, ये एक हॉकर का बच्चा था, ये एक गरीब अमुक वाले का बच्चा था, रैक्स टू रिचेस स्टोरी सबको अपील करती है. लेकिन मैं आपको यहाँ ऑफिशियली बता रहा हूँ, अपने अनुभव से बता रहा हूँ, ये कहना गलत है कि आपके प्रिविलेजेस और आपके डेप्रिवेशंस आपकी सक्सेस पर असर नहीं डालते. वो ज़्यादा असर डालते हैं. इसलिए most of the failures, when we talk of failures, are not failures of the individual. It is the system that failed them. Why else? There are 800 positions in UPSC civil services and there are 8 lakh people applying. Why? Why in any democracy that should be the case? Because if 8 lakh will apply for 800 position, out of which maybe 150 will be IAS officer, 75 will be already in service, only 75 new IAS officers will be there, which effectively means other 8 lakh, almost 8 lakh will get that stamp of fail. No, that should not be the case. But we are doing it because we don't have dreams to serve to the society. We have handful of dreams and everybody is rushing towards the same dream. Doctor ban jao, engineer ban jao, IAS ban jao. Not done. So my request here is that don't treat failures as individual, because even success is not individual. There are deprivations and privileges which result in these successes and failures. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. I think the key takeaway from the session would be that enjoy the process and take the learning as an advantage from it.
It has to. That's the only thing that's gonna stay with you. Trust me, all the limelight, all those rags to riches story, all those positions. When I'm interviewing with a candidate, with a co-panelist who had been IAS officers for 35 years, they have seen all limelight, limelight. And at the end of the day, their conclusion is the same, that you have to learn from every step and there is no point sticking to one limelight considering as end of anything. It is not.
Lot of things to learn from you, sir. This can go on and on. Thank you so much. We sincerely appreciate the time and presence you spent on this occasion today. Your ideas and experience have encouraged us to outreach our goals. Thank you so much.
Thank you IITM for hosting me. You were a wonderful host and I enjoyed the entire session a lot. Thank you very much.